Welcome to this episode of Martial Secrets. Lawrence, how are you today?
I am fabulous, man. Fabulous.
I knew you would be. We're doing a special show today, and it is called Stupid Is as Stupid Does. And what we're going to do is we're going to break down a criminal act, and we're going to point out where, well, stupid is as stupid does. But the first thing is I got to kind of set the table for everybody here. So bear with me, folks. I'm going to read to you very quickly this article so that you have the context in which we can discuss this. An Auburn man accused of smacking a loud 10-year-old at a Kent movie theater could face months in jail if convicted of felony assault charges now filed against him. King County prosecutor contends that the 21-year-old Young Hyun Kim knocked out one of the boy's teeth after the child and several other youths refused to quiet down and stop throwing popcorn in April. According to charging documents, Kim admitted to hitting the boy and appeared ashamed when confronted by police with the boy's age. Kim allegedly said he thought the boy was an adult and that's why he slapped him in the face. At 10:40 p.m. on April 11th, Kent police were called to the AMC Theater at 426 Ramsey Way following a complaint that a man had attacked a child there. Officers arrived to find the 10-year-old, his mother, and several friends in the theater lobby. The boy was bleeding from the nose and missing a tooth. The boy told police he wasn't sure why Kim struck him. He said that he was seated in the theater when the man with long hair and 3D glasses stepped over a row of seats and confronted him. According to the boy's account, Kim was something to the effect of, "You know what, I paid a lot of money to see this movie," and punched him in the face. For his part, Kim said the boys and others were talking loudly during the movie, the title of which was not given in charging documents, and throwing popcorn, some of which landed on him and his girlfriend, a Kent detective told the court. Kim told police he confronted the group about their behavior, but to no avail, the detective continued. The group laughed at him and did not quiet down, the detective said in court documents. Young Kim said he hit one of the subjects in the face with an open hand. "I got so mad it just happened," Kim told police, according to charging documents. Kim was arrested and later gave a lengthy statement to police. The detective noted Kim claimed he didn't know the boy was so young until police informed him. When the arresting officer asked Kim if he was aware that the person he had struck was 10 years old, Young hung his head down and said he thought the person was a grown man, the detectives told the court. Kim has been charged with second-degree assault, a felony. Kim, who has no criminal record, was briefly jailed and has since been released. Lawrence, there we go.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Let's talk about this slap in the face. All right?
Well, alleged slap in the face.
Well, okay. We're going to make some general assumptions here in that we're not going to make a perfect analysis of this. There are things that we don't.
There. Yeah, we don't. Basing this off of what was in the paper, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the point is not to necessarily get the line items of the story correct as if in a court of law, but to talk
because
about
that would put everyone to sleep.
That would put everybody to sleep. But to cover the dynamics of this.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to take...
Which is the reason I mentioned alleged slap. Let's face it. If you slap somebody because of 40 years or whatever it is of martial arts training in the face, might knock out a tooth and bloody their nose. Most people knocking out a tooth with a slap, well, see, that sounds like a punch to me.
Yeah, well, or possibly a palm. A good palm shot could do it.
Yeah, but that's not what what you think of as a slap, or at least what I think of as a slap is, a slap. I mean, just a little shot across the face, open pan,
Yeah.
It happens all the time. Teeth don't generally go flying.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, that I don't think he slapped him.
Yeah.
I think he gave him a palm shot or he gave him a fist. Now...
Well, look at the dynamic though. He was pissed, right? He was confronted by. I can speak really. He was confronted by these folks. He looked over and said, "Shut up." They didn't. He went over 2 rows of chairs, if I remember what you read correctly, and said, "I paid a lot for this," and then hit him. How often does somebody strike with an open hand when they're pissed off enough to go confront somebody like that?
I'm going to say very rarely.
I would say you're right.
And I'm gonna bet you $100 that kid lost a tooth out of the left side of his mouth because it was a right-handed shot.
Almost guaranteed.
Yeah, and I can guarantee you that kid did not try to get out of that seat and run away. He sat there, and bam, he took the shot, and he was surprised that there was going to be a punch to the face, because A, he didn't move, and B, he didn't try to cover from it. He thought that he had, that nothing serious was going to happen other than a yell.
Come on. You know, how often do 10-year-olds actually get confronted with real violence when they do something dumb?
Sure.
I mean,
yeah. Yeah, he's in the freeze. There's no question. But I'm going to say that I don't. Even if he did hit him with an open hand and he calls it a slap, it's not a slap. It was a palm shot, or it was a closed fist.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Agree.
So already the guy's back trailing on this because he knows he's done wrong.
Oh, well, the whole, I mean, I'm skipping ahead, but the whole hanging his head part. I mean, there's a reason why they say don't talk to the police without your attorney.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Sorry, couldn't help it.
Well, we'll tell you what. You know what we could do, Lawrence, is we could just do the whole thing and get to the end here real quick, if you'd like. But
oh, you want to go through all the steps to get there?
Yeah. But the other thing is that this took place at 10:40 at night. This was a 10-year-old kid that was at a movie theater
with his parents.
No, I'm going to argue no, because officers arrived to find the 10-year-old's mother and several friends in the theater lobby.
Oh.
I'm saying that they called the mom. She dropped them off at like 10:30 to go see a movie. And with some friends, and who knows, they could have been 17 or 18, who knows, old enough to do this kind of thing. But, she had dropped them off and was now returning. So these kids were basically unsupervised.
Could be, or it could be that she went and saw a different movie or something. That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, now I got a kid missing a tooth and with a bloody nose. Do you think I'm going to have a riled up parent?
Oh, just a little.
Just a little. All right, so I'm a cop. I roll up on this thing, and I've got a completely pissed off mom. I got a kid who's, beat up and crying. I got shocked kids around me, but I've got a completely compliant perpetrator.
Oh, I love that.
You think about it. I mean, if you look at what he did, he was completely compliant.
Yep.
The thing that is pretty interesting, I think, is that the boy told the police he wasn't sure why Kim hit him. I call bullshit. All right, forgive the French,
yeah.
but that's the bottom line. That is an absolutely complete piece of cockamamie, hokumano bull.
Yeah, well, I mean, so.
Oh, I don't know why.
Well, the thing is, in some ways, it's probably true, right? Because I'm willing to bet nobody's ever gone up to the kid and physically punished him for getting out of line before. So that was probably a shock. However, I'm absolutely certain he knew he was being, he was chuckling, he was yakking, he was throwing stuff.
Yep.
He was, I mean, I'm sure he knew he was out of line. And had it been like in class, his teacher would have said, they didn't list the kid's name, right?
No.
Okay, so let's call him Timmy just because. So they say, Timmy, you're in a timeout or you're going to go to the principal's office, right? I mean, that's the worst thing probably that's ever happened to him in his entire life up to this point, except for maybe a spanking, which I kind of doubt given that this is, the Seattle and all that, right? So probably the worst repercussion he's ever had is getting yelled at or sent to the principal's office.
Well, let me tell you this. I want to back it up. I don't know is not an answer. I don't know is not an answer. When I talk to my son or I talk to any of the kids in the dojo, when they say I don't know, that is that's not an answer. It's unacceptable.
Right.
You know why something happened. It didn't just, I don't know, it happened out. Random acts are very rare.
Oh, extremely
There's
rare.
always some sort of association, even if tangential. There's an association there. I don't know. It just happened. No, things just don't happen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You slept with my you slept with my best friend's wife. I don't know. It just happened.
Yeah.
No, it didn't just happen.
Yeah, it just happened. She fell on me. And,
right.
I don't know.
No, it just didn't happen.
No, you're right. It doesn't. But But there's
So this kid's being deceptive here too. So we got
sure.
we got the perpetrator who's saying, and he's clearly the perpetrator because he's admitted it.
Right.
But we got the perpetrator saying, trying to obfuscate what he did, and then we got the kid saying, "I don't know."
Remember, he was wearing 3D glasses, right? So this is probably, let's say it's like the Avengers or something, right? I mean, probably some big 3D movie, whatever it was. There's actually a pretty good chance. I don't know if you look through 3D glasses in a when you're not looking at the screen, it's possible if this kid's really big and he's really pissed, he didn't really realize how young the kid was.
Well,
very unlikely in my mind, but it is possible. However, my point about the kid was, yeah, he knew he was out of line. He just didn't think he was going to get smacked for it.
Oh yeah, no, he thought he was with his posse and he was going to get away. Now posse, of course, is an extreme statement, but he was with his peers, and so he thought he could get away with this stuff and be, a giggly kid. I'm not advocating, this situation here. I'm not advocating this, but what I am saying is, hey, 10-year-old kid, I know you're 10, but the world's a dangerous place, and you can get rolled up on really fast. So you best mind your P's and Q's. And you see, that's what's happening in a lot of America today is people think that, well, I'm safe because this, you know what?
Well, it's not just 10-year-olds. It's amazing how many people, quick example, right? So my son and I are down at the tennis court, Solstice Park, right? And we see an open court, and we walk across. There's a gate at the parking lot. There's 2 sets of courts, and there's open courts on the other side. So we kind of walk down the middle. There's space there where it's not in anybody's court. Go over and set our stuff down and go set up. And this lady comes over to us, and she's just livid. It's like, you don't do that, and just yelling and screaming. You walk around on the outside and you go through the thing, and then blah blah blah, and you're ruining our game. And it's like we weren't anywhere near her court. I mean, she went over 2 courts to go confront us because we had broken some horrid ethic of tennis that I didn't know about. It's like, if she'd asked me nicely, hey, next time do you mind walking around because it's a little distracting when people go through? It's like, hey, no problem. Yeah. Instead, she gets in my face. I wanted to smack her. I didn't.
Would she, Lawrence,
I wanted to.
What if you had, let's just change the scenario. What if that had happened, but instead of you, it was a 275-pound Washington University defensive lineman? Would she have behaved the same way?
Probably not.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she knew that she could get away with it. That's why she did it.
Of course. Well, I wouldn't say she knew. She expected to get away with it, right?
See, now here's the thing.
Because I was dressed nicely, right?
That kid expected to get away with this. This kid expected to get away with this. And I want to make this abundantly clear. I'm not advocating what happened here with this guy hitting this kid. But it's the same thing as when I'm at the stoplight and I see some guy walking through the crosswalk looking at his iPhone. I'm in the crosswalk. I'm safe. No, you're not. The laws of physics and drunk driving say that you're not. You best lift your eyes up and pay attention. This kid, if he had simply said, I'm sorry, or moved to another part of the theater or something, would still have a tooth today.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this kid is right. He was assaulted. He's in the right. Great. Now you're missing a tooth. How much is that going to cost you?
Yeah, well, fortunately, he's young enough. He's probably going to have a new one grow in. Yeah. It's not a permanent thing. But, it's not, certainly it was uncomfortable and unpleasant. But the thing, the interesting thing is that people think they can get away with being incredibly rude and doing things that, 100 years ago would cause a duel, right? Oh. Because they feel secure because nothing bad ever happens when they do it. It's self-reinforcing, right? When on the playground, if you solve a problem with your fist, you go to the principal's office, you get expelled, whatever, right? If you go yell and scream at somebody and cause them to solve the problem with their fist, they're the one who gets in trouble, right? It's this whole thing of the worst repercussion for mouthing off is somebody else gets suspended, right? I mean, the mindset is very different. And if you go to a lot of other countries and even some places in this one, you mouth off too much, they might find you buried somewhere,
Well, here's something that I want to jump ahead to.
Sure.
And that is that this Kim said, I paid a lot of money for this movie. All right. So, So there you go. He's been looking forward to this movie clearly, and he's paid a lot of money for it, and he's got his girlfriend with him. So now what happens is this 10-year-old Timmy's action drives him into his what brain?
Monkey brain.
His monkey brain. I'm an ook. I have, as Mark McYoung would say, I'm an ook. I have my woman to defend.
Yep.
I have my honor and my place in society that's being challenged by somebody who has no
who is
right,
at least smaller than me,
physically
right?
smoller than me, and has no position to challenge me.
If the guy really didn't realize that this 10-year-old was 10-year-old, he thinks he's being mouthed off at by some short guy, right? If nothing else.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you that I don't think that I don't think that I think he knew that it was a kid. I think he knew it was a kid. Because he, in the same way that woman we talked about on the tennis courts, wouldn't have been mouthy with you, even when just whatever reason, wouldn't have been mouthy with you if you were, as I described, that football player. This guy would have, if that had been a pack of, let's say, like 5 banditos behind him, or Hell's Angels, he would have got up and walked away.
Of course.
No question.
Unless he's suicidal.
Yeah, so I'm saying that no, he knew that this was a kid. So we've got
that.
We've got him saying, I hit him with an open hand. No, I don't think you did.
Pretty sure he didn't.
Yeah, pretty sure you didn't. Number 2, you say you didn't know he was a kid. I'm pretty sure that's a lie too.
Almost certainly did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we got the kid saying, I don't know why it happened. No, we know why it happened.
Yeah,
you were
of course
being
he
a
knows
punk.
why it happened.
Yeah, you were being a
exactly.
punk.
Right.
That's what happened.
Yeah, but let's go back to the monkey brain thing, because that's a big deal, right? The kid. So let's assume that he knows it is a kid. In fact, it's a pack of kids, little stupid kids, disrespecting him in front of his girlfriend when he paid. It's a 3D movie. What are those today? $12, $15, something like that.
He's out a half a day's wages.
Yeah, so he's out half a day's wages. He's with his girlfriend. He's looking forward to seeing this movie, and he's got a bunch of mouthy kids who, when he tells them to be quiet, throw popcorn at him. We're down to primitive behavior here. Thug smash, right?
Yeah.
Hell, I've been in that situation. I've been in the theater with the loud kids when I'm looking at this going, would somebody just freaking shut these kids up? But you know what I do? Either I ignore them or I go get the manager, because that's his job.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to go over there and get in a fight with a bunch of kids, because there's no win. There's no win.
Yeah, and here what I'm telling you is that this guy went down into his monkey brain.
Yep.
And he didn't realize it. He didn't know it. He was in that, and he was trapped in it, and he couldn't get out of it.
Yep. Oh, I'm sure that's true. I mean, how many people really even know what a monkey brain is, to be honest?
Well, yeah. And here's the other thing too, is that the group laughed at him. He says that they laughed at me. Right. So now, everything that we just talked about, let's just turn the afterburners on.
Oh, absolutely.
Those are like the afterburners on an F4 Phantom scrambling out of North Vietnam trying to get back.
I think you're dating yourself there a little, but yeah.
Okay. Well, someday I'm going to actually come up with some references that are within the last 4 decades. But
for those of you who were born after the Vietnam War, the afterburner basically dumps extra fuel into your exhaust, makes you go a hell of a lot faster.
Yeah.
Might not be technically correct, but it gets the point.
Yeah. So now you've got that little piece there too. Thank you, Captain Boeing.
Well, we do build airplanes.
So now here's the thing: is that this guy, and you alluded to it a moment ago. This guy knows that he's done wrong because he has now seen the blood.
Yep.
He knows that the police are on the way. He doesn't flee.
Yeah, that's a really good point. He was still there when the cops showed up. Unless the cops were in the theater, he had at least 5 minutes.
Oh,
at least.
No question. And all he could have done is he could have walked out of the theater and just gone somewhere else. Not even gotten in his car. Not come back to his car until later. If he got in his car, somebody would have gotten the license plate.
Right.
But just disappear into, Factoria or wherever he was.
Yeah, it's canned. If it's a theater, I think it is. There's a shopping center right near there, and there's food places. There's all kinds of stuff. A ton of places he could go disappear to.
Okay. So anyway, we know this, that now we know he doesn't have a criminal mind.
No, not at all.
Okay. So,
well, he felt guilty. I mean, you can tell from his statement, and, they talked about the body language. Clearly, he felt guilty about this.
Yes, he did, because when he sat down with the police, he responded to their authority and gave a lengthy statement, as the article says. He gave a lengthy statement. All right.
He also hung his head, right?
Yeah. They said that in there. He's looking at a second-degree assault, which is a felony.
Yes.
Try to rent an apartment with a felony on your record.
In some places, actually, legally, they have to run it to you, but where they don't, it's tough.
Yeah. Try to get a job where it says, have you ever been convicted of a felony?
Yeah, check the box. You check that box, you better have some darn good explaining to do.
I
beat up a 10-year-old.
I knocked the tooth out of a 10-year-old in a theater.
I mean, honestly, he might be a great guy, and he might be a fabulous employee, but if I have the choice between two people with, equally good experience, and they both bright, they both do well in the interview, and one of them beat up a 10-year-old, I think that he probably doesn't have the judgment the other guy does.
Oh, well, and I can tell you this. As soon as that form goes across the desk of HR, they're stamping it. Bam! It's gone. Not even going to be considered. All right, so now listen to this.
So what you're saying is he's screwing up his life because he got pissed.
He's screwing up his life. I'm gonna submit this to you. Yeah, he got pissed. Yes, I think there's enough guilt to go all the way around in this thing. It's one of those situations where no one's going to win on this thing. If I'm the judge, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, you know what, Mr. Kim, you're paying for that kid's tooth. All right, that's what you're going to do. You're going to pay for that tooth. You're going to pay for all the medical bills on that thing. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to violence counseling, because you need to learn something about that. Anger management. You need to learn something about that.
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah. You need to learn something about that.
Yep.
And number 2, I'm going to put you on probation, because I'm looking at this. You don't have a criminal record. I don't believe that this was anything other than an isolated incident, but we're going to ensure that you have an opportunity to be a productive member of society. You're going to pay for what you did because it was wrong. And let me tell you something. That kid, I got a little lecture for him too. And I got a little lecture for his mom with a 10-year-old kid at 10:30 at night at a movie theater. All right?
Yeah.
Now,
one
I'm
of
not
the
done.
judge doesn't do that, though?
I'm not done.
Okay.
But here's what's going to happen. This guy gave a lengthy statement to the police. The prosecuting attorney is going to look at that lengthy statement and go, this guy's mine.
Ka-ching. Yeah.
This guy's mine. And so he's going to go for the conviction. And he's going to get it.
Of course.
And he's going to be able to check off on his list that, hey, look, we got another felony conviction.
Oh, yeah, that's going to make him look like a fabulous prosecutor. I'm using that word a lot today. He's going to look pretty damn awesome.
Yeah,
he's got a good, his win-loss record is going to be really high.
Yeah, the bottom line, this is a slam dunk.
It is a slam dunk, absolutely, yeah.
But I'm arguing that because of the situation, I think that there's another way to make this decision. Now, I'm the judge. That's my decision. Correct me.
I don't know how much discretion the judges actually have, but if they did, lecturing the kid and the mom, I think is a great idea. I think they should do it. I can't imagine a judge actually doing that, but they should. In terms of giving the guy paying for the bills and put him on probation, again. That would be great. The problem is that as I understand, and I'm not an attorney, but I think you're mixing criminal and civil.
Maybe
right?
I am.
I'm not sure it's possible to actually do that. But I mean, if it was in terms of the put your King Solomon hat on and be fair and all that, that's the right answer. I think what's really going to happen is this guy's going to get a conviction. They might plead it down, but I doubt it. I mean, there's no reason to, right?
No.
And so I'd say there's a 90% chance this guy's going to take a second-degree assault conviction. He's going to do a few months in jail and have a long probation, and it might be that he still has to pay some restitution in the process, but it's not like it's going to not be on his record to do a double negative.
Well, yeah, and let's talk about this for a minute too, because this is important. I have some acquaintances that are cops. In fact, I had a friend who, I used to do judo with, who just recently died. That was a cop. And, you get to know somebody's heart when you roll with them for a couple years.
Oh, yeah.
And, good guy. And that's for another story. But the point is this, is that I have friends that were cops. I have associates that are cops. And I'm going to tell you this. Cops aren't going to take it personally if you don't talk to them. Their job is to arrest what's going on. They're not really particularly interested in doing the prosecuting attorney's job. If it's an easy thing, they'll do it. And that's what happened here. You know what you do when you're around a cop? You shut up.
Shut the hell up. Yeah.
You don't say
you shut up.
anything.
You get an attorney. Now, there's an exception to that, to me, and this is kind of an ethics thing. If there was a confrontation and the aftermath of which there's a danger that's still there, let's say you end up in a gunfight with somebody and, you know, he had an accomplice who's still around somewhere and armed. You kind of should tell him that, you know, because it's the right thing to do.
Sure, if there's still potential danger at hand.
Or something along those lines, right? Yeah, but I mean, other than that, there's the reason you have the right to an attorney, and there's the reason you have the right to shut the hell up and not convict yourself. Well, because anything you know, they say, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Yeah, it darn will. It will.
And you know what? Taking the Fifth, in the United States, taking the Fifth Amendment, which is not incriminating yourself through your own words.
Yeah.
Taking the Fifth is not an admission of anything.
No,
it's not an admission of guilt.
People want to talk. You know, if you're adrenalized, you've been through a traumatic situation, and I'm not saying this particular instance was horribly traumatic. Probably was for the kid, but not so much for the guy at the time. Now, later on, it's going to screw up his whole life, so don't get me wrong. But you know, at the time, you know, he wasn't in a situation that makes you want to babble. You end up in a life or death thing. You end up killing the other guy. Most people, part of that whole, you know, chemical soup as it wears itself through your system, you want to talk, right? In this case, I think it's more of a he felt guilty for doing something stupid. But you know what? If you want to talk, wonderful. Well, talk, but talk to your attorney. Don't say anything to the cops.
His naivete shows here in that he knows that he's done wrong.
Yeah.
And he's essentially admitted.
Oh, by the way, he beat up a 10-year-old in front of his girlfriend.
Yeah. You got to
think about that too. There's going to be repercussions from that as well.
Oh yeah, we might be done there too. All of this stuff, it's just a bad thing going all the way around. And here's what I want to say to the little Timmies out there in the world: don't push it. Don't push it. Just knock it off. And I understand that you're going to do it. I was young too. I wasn't just, well, you know, I was going on 10 years of age, clear into my 20s, you know, my maturity level. So I'm not pushing that one. If you're a young guy, hey, hold your powder. Walk away. Really, walk away. It's just easier to walk away.
If you have a really bad experience, go back to the movie theater thing, right? If it's really going wrong, you go get the manager. If the manager can't shut the kids up, there's a darn good chance you're going to get a refund and go back to another show.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
As we said earlier, he got down into his monkey brain. His monkey brain doesn't think like that.
He did. Absolutely. And, you know, this isn't the only time. I mean, when I was in high school, there was a couple of brothers who were guys on the football team, you know, big, strong, fast. Everybody wanted to be like them. They were murdered in the parking lot of the Factoria Cinema Theater for a situation almost exactly like this. It was one of the first killings, maybe it was the first killing, at least the first one I knew about anyway, in that area of Bellevue. I mean, it was a pretty nice area, right? And it made, you know, front page news. It was a huge story. I mean, because it shocked everybody, a double murder like that.
Yeah, that doesn't happen there.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it might today, but it certainly didn't way back then. And it was huge, and it started from almost the exact same thing, people not shutting up in the theater. And so, you know, losing a tooth is a lot less bad than getting killed. But you know what? If you mouth off to the wrong people, stuff can happen. I mean, the only thing that keeps me from reaching over the table is the law, right? I mean, if I was pissed off enough to go kill somebody, and that fear of the consequence is no longer in my head, if I'm that deep in my monkey brain, there's nothing to stop me from doing anything, because guess what? You're not walking around with a cop in your back pocket. Yeah,
no disagreement. Well, anyway, so the analysis, the bottom line on this is that if you're Timmy, knock it off. If you're the older guy, if you're the hung guy, you know what? Control yourself. And number 3, don't talk to the cops. It's okay. They're not taking it personal. You know, just shut up.
Yeah, just shut up. Sage advice, everyone. Just shut up.
Well, on that note, I guess we should shut up. So thanks for listening to this episode of Martial Secrets, which is the Stupid Is as Stupid Does episode in regard to crime. Lawrence, how do we get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me at lakane@ix.netcom.com through email, or you can go to the Amazon site, or you can go to YMA's site, or, just Google me, man.
And you can reach me at the dojo at quidnunc.net. That's the dojo at QUIDNUNC.net. And you can send me emails and tell me about just how wrong I am with this and everything else, including the color selection of the walls in the room here.
Well, you aren't an interior decorator. I'll give you that.
No.
But
right.
Hey, for all of you out there that are listening to Marshall Secrets, we do appreciate it, and do drop us a line. Let us know what you think, and until then, be safe
And be well.
Nice work.